Hello and welcome everybody to another edition of the Quantum Compass, where we preview the incoming Mayan wavespell and take an overview of the upcoming astrology, fusing the two together to give an energetic imprint for the incoming next 13 days. And we add a little bit of plant wisdom to assist us through these moments. My name is David.
And I'm Bella Alvaran. Welcome back to Quantum Compass.
All right, so today we have quite a bit of intel to get through. We have some interesting astrology in amongst what else is going on. And for the first half of the show, Bella is going to take us into some other aspects of the Mayan time wave technology. And then later in the show, I'm going to be previewing the incoming Ceres Cazimi, which actually kicks off this next Mayan wave spell, which is the second in this green castle of Aoife, which is the final wave spell of the year. And it is the white magnetic wind from February the 14th to the 26th. So,
and definitely stay until the end. We have a big surprise to share with everybody.
Okay, even I'm not sure what the surprise is. So I'm going to stay to the end as well. All right, everybody, as usual, Bella has put together another one of the very juicy, information-packed presentations, and let's get into it.
Right, so this is a wave spell of the white magnetic wind. We can see the glyph here. But let's start with a little bit of more information around where we're at and what is it that is coming towards us. We just came from the wave spell of the red magnetic moon, which was all about flow. And now we continue to talk about reconnecting to the sacred flow and to the spiral of time. And one of the things I want to emphasize here is that we must synchronize with nature and open our hearts to divine love so that we can see new earth emerging. We've seen over the last few weeks and in this last wave spell, how many things have changed. The old world has been dissolving very rapidly. And we know that since 2012 up to now, we've been in 13 years of like a rite of passage. And this is a very key year, the year of the storm, where we see all of the dissolution of systems and things that don't work anymore. We keep on healing ancient traumas, ancient fears, and embracing our shadows. And so we've been talking about how the Gregorian calendar keeps us out of sync. And so it's like a subconscious implant or pattern that we must break so that we break the whole spell of false time. We must do this to an individual level and to a collective level as well. And it's through the power of time that reality and perceptions are manipulated and controlled. And this is what we need to wake up to. So as part of our galactic history, we have inherited some unresolved karma that was transferred to Earth from many of the galactic wars and to what happened to Maldek, the planet Maldek, to what Mars was and the karma that it has, Jupiter and Saturn. And here I like to mention, so Maldek now is the asteroid belt, right? Mm-hmm. But it contains a lot of the traumas related to crimes, trafficking, and many of the things that we're seeing and are going to see more of in the news very soon. And we need to be able to look at those things and transcend them and be able to heal all of these so that those things don't repeat. When we talk about Mars, then it's everything that has to do with the pandemics and violence and death and fears and all of these stuff. When we talk about Jupiter, we need to transcend everything that has to do with false light, with abuse of powers, with religious figures that have misled great numbers of the population. So, and when we talk about Saturn, of course, we talk about corrupt monetary systems. We talk about materialism and the control of time. So see, all of those topics are coming for review, and we need to be able to look at them and then move forward with that.
Right, so that's true. We have a lot coming at us very, very quickly. And as we move into this wave spell of the white wind, there's going to be a lot of communication about that, as I think Bella's going to share in a minute. So as always, we don't want to scare people. That's not our job. Our job is to understand the energies as they're coming towards us and to be able to work with them and transcend those energies and even alchemize, not just for ourselves, but maybe for parts of the collective as well.
Mm-hmm. So as we've been talking about for all of those years with Quantum Planet World, we must have a collective shift. We're in the middle of that because we need to be able to move from the Babylonian planet that has ruled us for years into wholeness, into a collective that is always trying to thrive all together. And for that, we need to transcend the previous history and transmute all of these things that I mentioned with those planets and karma back into light. And freedom, which is super key, is embedded in our cosmic essence. So we want to make sure that everything we do moving forward doesn't restrict our freedom again. We are here to break the illusion of separation as well, the illusion of separation from source, but also from each other. We're all interconnected. And that way we can activate a new frequency of consciousness, awakening our hearts, minds into the cosmic field of love.
Right, beautiful.
Right? And so we keep on talking about time and the waves and the spiral, which is the whole system that we've been looking at, because we want to achieve a harmonic resonance. And that is how our bodies are built, how nature is built. And when we talk about time waves, we're talking about the universal natural matrix of time, which is the key to the universal light codes, which unlock through time release based on a synchronic order. So that's what we do every 13 days. What we're doing is reconnecting to those light codes. So when we talk about Galactic Mayans, who I believe are the ones who gave us these technology eons ago, we were just talking about this a while ago, that is only now that we can unpack the whole technology that was given to us. Maybe at the time of the Mayans or the Olmecs, they were given just enough so that they could work in their situation and their society with what they were given, which is the Tzolkin and some of the other calendars. But now we can access so much more. And as Galactic Mayans, which I'm sure many of you are as well, we are dreamers and co-creators of New Earth, and we have incarnated to help spiritualize matter, to regain the superconscious powers. We have been lost in this low frequency of the 1260, as we've been saying, but we can now switch that radio station and switch to the 1320 frequency, which is 13 glyphs, 13 tones, and 20 glyphs. Anything there?
No, you carry on, Bella.
So our true essence is really pure. It's the essence of our soul. And it requires for us to be clear, to have clarity, to have very flexible minds, to have pure and compassionate hearts, which serve to the higher vision that is for the highest good of all and for the best for Mother Earth, for the whole planet. So we need to start relying on our soul's wisdom more and more. And so this is the path that we're all walking together, the path to original innocence, to a wholeheartedly way of being that serves the greater mission. And when we start seeing the world from a cosmic perspective, ensuring humanity steers into the highest optimal timeline, there's what everybody will thrive, the more that we all realize that we can do something about it. So we are creating a magnetic effect in this great wave of awakening, pulling us into oneness. When we all realize that our heart can be connected to one rhythm, to one pulse, to a harmonic resonance, we'll be creating as a collective. And we'll share a little bit about our initiative and what we are already doing in our tribe in order to achieve that.
Right. Yeah. Moving towards collective unity consciousness is a part of the process that we're all in. And we are finding ways with this mind technology to make it easier for ourselves.
So, yep, we're reuniting with universal time and mind, seeking truth. Truth is a very key word for this wave spell of the white wind. We're reuniting with harmony, attuning to universal order, and that universal order is within us already. We just need to allow it to happen. And our mission is more than anything vibrational. Where's your vibration? Are you feeling fear, low vibration, anger, or are you being able to raise your vibration? That's done from within. It's a vibrational shift. That is the ascension process, the evolutionary process. Anything there?
Oh, it's lots of juice.
Yeah, so I wanted to cover more things because it is a very key period of time. So I wanted to give more of a wider perspective of where we're at. And so we are still in the year of the storm until July 24th. And there are more cosmic waves now. They are intensifying. You've been seeing the amount of solar flares and earthquakes and the amount of things happening all around the planet. So in this accelerated phase, it's actually the moment that helps us dissolve all of these densities coming to the surface. So if things that you haven't dealt with have come to the surface, are being presented, do deal with them. This is the moment. It is going to be a little bit easier because most of the density around the planet and bigger entities have been removed. And so if you still feel resistance, it may be because you don't know that there are many good things coming our way. And so many better systems are coming that even some of us are helping design at the quantum level.
Right, and at the risk of repeating what many other people have said, humanity is going through a bit of a Stockholm syndrome, and it's easier for us to hold on to the old corrupt slavery systems, for example, of taxation and the 1260 Gregorian calendar, which, as we've talked about, intimately linked, than to actually to take the more courageous and inspirational step to step into something new because it's unknown. There's that kind of like, at least I know what this system is like, but we're here to show that the time has come for those systems to collapse. And this is something that we all signed up for. We all agreed to be in this moment, but we also have to go through the process of stepping into the new and letting go of the old. And often we need a kind of high-powered catalyzing energy like a storm to do that, right?
That's correct. Because right now the karmic agreements are ending. And they're ending swiftly. It could have been much worse, but since we switched the cuboids on April last year, April 8th, with that eclipse, we changed to a timeline which is a much easier way to end those karmic contracts, to dissolve the old fears and everything that was heavy and was having us down. So all of the illusions, some of them are comfortable illusions. They're also fading away. The comfortable things, it is really hard, sorry, to leave the comfort zone. But we're all going to have to change something or shift somehow.
Right, and as we'll see in the astrology segment in the second half of the show, with all of these energies stacked up, especially with Neptune in Pisces, but the Piscean motif in general, this is the time that we are, I think, being invited to look at all of this stuff as we reach the final quarter of the year of the storm.
Yeah, so this is definitely a catalyzing energy. Let's welcome it because it's the moment of renewal so we can achieve balance, so we can let go and step out of dramas and worries and fears that have held us back.
Well, and it's sensible to be mindful of the storm, but it's not helpful to be afraid of the storm. If we have our structure and our foundations right in our life, whether it's internally or even in the house that we live in, then the storm will come and it will batter the house. But excuse me, it won't knock the house down. And we need to be the same. We need to see our own house in this way, make sure that we're rooted, centered, grounded, so that when the storm breaks, a bit like the Ents in Lord of the Rings, they can brace themselves against the storm, and eventually the storm abates and we find that we're still stood in much the same spot we were at the beginning, hopefully, if our roots and foundations are strong.
Right. So we are in the middle of the transformation into a higher vibrational realm. Remember, I just said it is a whole vibrational shift that we are going into, where we want to harness sovereignty. That freedom and sovereignty have to be key as part of this process. So let's go to the Tzolkin. I've talked about this wheel of time, even the 4 directions. And I mentioned that we're right in the center, working with Hunab Ku, trying to transcend duality. We're still in the 8th moon, which is the galactic moon of integrity. That is where we are being shown so many things that are not in integrity, in politics, in finance, in all of these bureaucratic systems. All of the things that we're going to be shown and have been shown will continue because we need to reach a point of harmonization and integrity. And what this beautiful totem teaches us, it's to have a vision, a higher vision. He is teaching us awareness, to be very present, because the hawk has a very powerful presence, and I have seen quite a few in the last few weeks.
That's true.
The hawk bears observation skills and broad perspectives on his wings. So I already covered this before, but I just wanted to remain on that higher vision that the hawk is allowing us to have.
Right, we did cover the this particular moon in the last show, but Bella, this is the moon of integrity, and it's obviously the tone 8 glyph of integration. So how do you see that flowing with what we're currently experiencing in the storm and with the white wind wave spell?
I see it as right now we are in the process. So there are 13 moons, and the tone 8 is telling us harmonize at this point as we come to the 13th moon. We're on the journey, right?
Yeah.
But on step 8, we stop to harmonize, we stop to integrate what's happened before, and we get ready to have a more galactic perspective towards the end of this 13 moon journey.
So we could say in many ways the hawk is not dissimilar to the energy of the eagle's perch perspective. It's giving us that loftier view that we can have from the more aerated perspective of these birds of prey.
Right. And so here we have the 5 castles. We started the green castle with the last wave spell of the red moon. Now we're entering here, as you can see highlighted, the white magnetic wind wave spell. And so as we work with this green castle, I want us to visualize that we have already worked with the element of fire, air, water, earth, and now we're working with the ether, but within the ether, we're integrating all of the other 4. So we're creating from the quantum, having integrated everything.
Right.
And here we have the Tzolkin, which is the cosmic tapestry. And here I wanted to share that we already have started an initiative in the group of Quantum Planet World, where all of the members of the tribe and any of you who want to join us can come and register on our website, and you can put your galactic signature here on the tapestry. And we want to complete the 260 galactic signatures, so we start creating more as a collective, and you understand what your energy can contribute to the collective.
Right, and at the risk of not wanting to repeat any of the videos we've already done, we have done a series of videos about this, but about a week into this process already, and as we enter into the spirit of the white wind, which Bella will talk about more in a minute, we have already crossed 100 bingo lights out of 260 on our Tzolkin board. And yes, this is a fun exercise, but also there is a much higher spiritual imperative behind this, which is to come together 260 like-minded souls, speaking and operating from their glyph essence, but all interacting in this board together. Like we said this before, we're not sure this has ever been done. There's no recorded history of it that I found, but we want to see what happens when 260 beings come together, each one representing a different glyph on the board.
Once we have the 260, we'll have the full matrix of creation.
Right.
So we could create anything once we work together in the same frequency.
Right, so as Bella said, putting a call out to all of you, if you've made it this far into the video, you will get a golden clock in the comments, but most of all, we want to catch your attention, because if you're watching our show regularly and enjoy what we share about the Tzolkin, then we are inviting all of you to step into this process with us, even if you've not been into the QPW website before, or even necessarily participated in any of the previous immersions. If you are resonating with the material that we've been sharing through Quantum Compass, we're inviting you to come into the process. 260 glyphs, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's quite a big treasure hunt. And our objective is to complete it during this wave spell. There are many reasons for this, but get involved in the conversation. Check out the links below in the show notes. And if you don't know what your glyph is, then just come over to the discussion board, post your birthday, and somebody will jump in almost immediately and tell you what your kin number is, or you can share it with us here in the comments or chat, and we'll do it for you there too.
Yeah, and if you don't want to share your date of birth, we can give you the link so you calculate it yourself.
Yeah.
So this is the wave spell of the white wind, and we're here towards the end. The first day is going to be kin 222. 222, and we run all the way down to 234. There is only one galactic activation portal, and that is day 1 on the 14th of February. And beautifully enough, we do have a member of the tribe who is that tone and that kin number.
Right, and it's also interesting to understand that these green galactic activation portal days is how the Tzolkin maps out the 5th element of ether. So if you have a kin number, i.e. if you were born on one of the days where this was the glyph, then that means that you're also working at a heart level, a soul level, and essence level with the energy of ether and direct communication with the universe in general. So those are very, very powerful days. And of course, the magic number of 222 to start this way. So this is an incredibly potent and powerful moment. And our brother who has this kin is now stepping into the awareness of that through what we're doing with our work in the tribe. But that can apply to each and every one of you. Every glyph is important. And as we go through this process of learning more about this time wave technology from the high Mayan beings, we're getting to see these new layers. And this is another layer that we're now working with.
I like to explain these green galactic activation portals as having the password to the etheric Wi-Fi, basically.
Right.
So it's like you can access, upload and download information.
Right.
So what else did I want to say? Moving forward, we're going to do more exercises, collective exercises with whenever there is a wave spell. For example, now that we have the white wind, if you have your galactic birthday here, you will be the ones holding the energy of this collective, and you can then put the energy into it.
Beautiful.
Good. As usual, I have highlighted here the two archetypes or the two glyphs that represent the white wind. And I'd like to mention here, so when you go to the Mayan sites in the Yucatan or in different places around Mexico, you see a lot of this symbol, and this symbol is connected to the god of wind, which is shown holding a T cross down here, as you can see. And the wind brings the storm clouds and the rain, and is symbolic of breath itself. So it's that like the element of wind that is part of creation of life itself. And that T-cross shape is seen in ancient architecture across Mesoamerica. Some ancient codices of the Maya depict the tree of life as that T shape. Wow. And it's very on point with what we're going to share later on, the surprise. So trees and the air are intimately linked. When you see a tree, and I had a beautiful lady from the tribe share something today with me, as when she connects to the tree, she works with an oak tree, and when she communicates with it, you can see the leaves moving. So that is the connection we have. The trees and the wind are connected and are talking to us if we are open to that. So it is the symbol for breath, for life. That T cross has dual meaning, tree and breath. Okay. I also wanted to mention the Aztec creation story has the god called Ehecatl. And so if you go around different sites, you'll find the temples to Ehecatl, which is exactly the same god, only that here in the Aztec creation story, he is connected to the fifth and final sun, which means the world we're living in. We're living in the fifth sun, which is coming to an end. Good. So this is the wave spell, starting here with the white wind, and the qualities connected to these archetype. More than anything, we're going to talk about truth. Stand firm in your cosmic truth. It's also a moment of refinement. You want to evaluate the beliefs that ignite any emotions. So if you're still getting triggered by anything, if you're still judging, you need to evaluate what beliefs are still in place that are getting you out of shape or being triggered.
Right.
Super key in this wave spell. Many qualities connected to this archetype, to this glyph, are communication, inspiration, connection to the spirit world, the breath as the fuel of life, invisible forces, truth, as I mentioned before, cosmic energy. There is so much cosmic energy, and it will intensify even more in this wave spell. It also talks about alignment to who you truly are, is connected to our respiratory system. But we have some shadow to look at over these 13 days as well. And is there still any victimhood? Are you still stuck in feeling a victim because you haven't finalized dealing with any shadow or traumas still standing there? Projecting or blaming others is also part of the shadow of this archetype. Doubting your connection to divinity, another big one. We're all connected to divinity, and we need to come to, we have the help of our higher self to work on this even more. If you still feel separated or isolated, which is very common with this archetype, this connection from higher self and from spirit. So invite spirit, invite your higher self during this wave spell to work with you and show you more of the truth and of who you truly are.
Right.
The transformation to work here, it would be taking responsibility. So if you're still projecting or if you're still feeling like a victim, first of all, you need to accept that and then review, okay, what is it that is still triggering me? Is it because I still believe this or that? Reconnect to the divine through your spiritual practices, but it could be as simple as reconnecting to your breath and seeing the magic of being here at this moment in time, seeing our beautiful body, the amazing bodies that we have, the opportunity that we have to see this world changing. We're in the middle of the biggest change that humanity's ever had. We also want to follow our inspirations. What is it that you wanted to do? So here it's really good to connect to singing or playing an instrument like the flute or something that is connected to breath, a wind instrument.
Yeah.
Being unified presence with spirit, talk to the wind, talk to the trees, and they will respond. The wind and the trees will respond. Inspire others by being more of who you truly are. And so this is a perfect moment for authentic self-expression. Do something that is really you. And so Amazing Wave Spell is all about the spiritual refiners, and Ik, which is my name, has the action of communication. Communicate your feelings, this wave spell. Communicate your truth. It has the essence of breath. Some breath work would be perfect. And the power of a spirit. Remember that we are spirits living this human experience. So bring more of that awareness into place.
And even simple things like remembering to breathe. We've been running our flying school courses recently, and sometimes in the depths of ceremonial medicine work, we can forget to breathe because we're so tense. Well, the same is true in everyday life, and particularly with information coming at us from all directions, there is a chance that sometimes maybe we forget to breathe, we get paralyzed by situations, and actually just taking a few moments to calm yourself, to regulate your breathing, and to put your attention on your heart and immediately connect you to the power of spirit.
Yep. Good. And I wanted to share also, this is like the higher octave, the galactic archetype connected to the wind is Lady of the Winds, the High Priestess, which is inviting us to be present. Presence is another keyword for this wave spell. Present in this cosmic transition. It's also connected to galactic wind, the catalyzing current, the spirit that moves through all things. There is nothing like there is no empty space. There is the plasma energy, the quantum field, and this is all also connected to that because we're in that castle. The challenge of the wind as it turns in every direction, harnessing the power of the words. So mind the words that you say this wave spell. Speak only what is glorious, what is good for others. If it's not good for the other person, why do we need to share it?
True that.
The divine breath that gives life to all creation. This is the unseen essence of solar energy, the breath of inspiration, the fertilizing force of the wind. Its essence is the movement of spirit. And breathe consciously is what you were explaining. Let's do it, being more present. Allow your life to be more like the wind, more free-flowing and open to spirit. It also represents spontaneity and simplicity. With this archetype, it also is telling us to experience the truth of the present moment, free to move on the next moment without the baggage of the past or desire or regrets or expectations. Try to move more lighter, with more freedom. Acknowledge that invisible forces are always moving in your life, guiding and inspiring. This white wind embodies the concept of presence that is an expression of beingness, a creator of intimacy. From simple beingness, your true identity emerges. So presence, very important, breath, truth. I would say those are the most important ones. And I'll just finish this part saying, so presence is being open, aware, and in the now. When you're present and relaxed, your heart opens even more. So you want to anchor an enlightened timeline for all, not just for you, but for everybody, and embody more of that cosmic love.
So is the High Priestess, is that the upper
The galactic archetype.
right? Do you want to just take a couple of minutes to explain that about the glyphs in terms of like each glyph has its tone and its resonance and its meaning, but then there's a more next octave up meaning.
Yeah, maybe the ones that have come to do a galactic signature reading session understand it more. This is what we do towards the end of the session. But every archetype, so in this case, let's say the white wind, has a higher octave, a galactic archetype. And in this case, it is this energy of the High Priestess, one that is showing us to be more present and all of the things I just shared.
So could we say maybe that the higher octave of the glyph is a more soulful expression, a more expanded understanding of the perhaps more three-dimensionally driven nature of the glyph?
Yeah, I like to call it galactic,
Yeah,
which is taking us out of the 3D.
Right,
Beyond.
and when we learn about our Mayan glyph, our cosmic essence, and then we also factor in this higher tone, it just gives us more spectrum within which to understand our own cosmic nature.
Absolutely. Good. And as usual, these are the reflective questions to ride this wave. So every day, make sure you identify the purpose for this wave spell. So try to choose something that is connected to what I just mentioned. So if you need to communicate with somebody, if you need to resolve an issue which needs communication, if you need to express a truth or hear a truth, if you need to be more present or more connected to the air elemental. So anything around this will be more supported. But there will be lots of information and more disclosure coming our way, more in the stormy way. So we need to be more grounded.
So in every episode of the Quantum Compass, Bella shares this slide, and at the risk of repetition, it's really important because it's a reference for us to be able to get into the flow of each wave spell with these questions. And we've been living like this for quite a few years now, in fact, since we first got together, and many of our tribe members doing the same. And what I can share from my perspective is that it gives every day this special meaning. There's no need to project into the future. When this happens, the world is going to change, or when this person does that. I don't need any of that because every day I'm waking up with these intentions in my head as part of a flow. So each day is a stepping stone to the next.
It gives us a focus for our energy, because otherwise we're going to be in the past and the future, or drifting, or the emotions will bury us. So that's why it's good to have a focus.
Yeah.
So just to wrap up the Mayan part, the course is available on the platform, but this is very useful if you want to awaken to your cosmic lineage, to activate your blueprint, to embrace your energy and amplify your galactic signature, to reach the higher octave and benefit the collective. Because the more of us that activate this energy within us, then we can amplify it and amplify each other's resonance. And this is a way to awaken your dormant talents, to engage in your passion. And that way the community invigorates with pioneers of New Earth, which is what we're trying to do, and foster a support network, which is, again, the whole tapestry of our work with the tribe. And finally, this is the navigation guide to quantum consciousness, which is actually, if you want to learn even more about the tones, the 13 tones and sacred geometry, this is a perfect course to do that. And you could do just one chapter at the time. You can purchase one of the chapters at the time.
So in essence, what Bella's really put together is, first of all, the Mayan Time and Magic, which is a very complete 6-part course. It really goes into the nature of the construction of the time wave technology, plus a whole episode really looking at each of the glyphs. So it's also very factual, so you can refer back to it as much as you want. And then the navigation guide to quantum consciousness is the 13 steps of the Ascension ladder, or the 13 steps of universal creation, which is each of the 13 tones. So when you put these two together, really what you have is the 1320 calendar explained in great detail. And for sure, everybody who's done Mayan Time and Magic, and many of our tribe members, have progressed a long way up the 13 steps of the ladder, if not finishing it. All of those people like us are in a very, very different space to before we started that process.
So this is a way to understand all of the 13 dimensions. How do they work and how do you activate them within yourselves? So this is it for the Mayan part. Now the astrology.
Right. Well, thank you, Bella, for setting the scene there. We're being a little more precise today and splitting the show up into 2 halves because we had a lot of information to share, particularly in the second part with this incoming Ceres Cazimi. So There are a lot of big astrological movements going on. A lot of them are being very beautifully described by our brothers and sisters who put out dedicated astrology shows. But what we can say is it's all very watery, right? There's a lot of action happening in the very watery sign of Pisces, but also Aquarius, which is an air sign, but is the water bearer, is also holding a lot of water, I would say. And that is where we have managed to pinpoint something that perhaps many astrologers haven't seen, which is what we're calling a Ceres Cazimi. Now, the Cazimis normally apply, at least in most people's reckoning, to a sun conjuncting or combusting a planet. Well, if you were following the previous shows where we were looking at the Pluto Cazimi and the Yeshua Cazimi that happened just a couple of days before that, all of the things that we had seen incoming with the energy of those two Cazimis is now manifesting very rapidly here in North America in what is unfolding. So it tells us that this stuff actually works, and when we put our intention, clear intention and consciousness into it, we can even help shape how that energy unfolds. So we have this very beautiful, I would say, Ceres Cazimi, where the sun is conjuncting here at a magical 2626. I don't know who makes these things up, but I love the precision of it all happening here in Aquarius. Now, I'm going to spend most of this astrological part of the show looking at the fixed stars that are around this particular point, but we'll get into that in a minute. The rest of the wave spell, without getting into the movements of Mars turning direct and all of the watery energy in the latter stages of Pisces, which you said many people talking about, but I would suggest that with all of this energy at the end of Pisces, and Pisces being the last sign in the zodiac before we start the wheel again with Aries, and particularly with Neptune, I think moving into Aries somewhere in March, what we're seeing is that there is a big culmination of energy towards the end of March, which is also interestingly when the Tzolkin finishes on the 24th, just 3 days after the equinox. So the symmetry, synchronicity, the timing of this is exquisite. And the more you look at it in a really, really cool fractal quantum kind of way, the more that you see, which is fractal living, essentially. So we kick off the wave spell with this Ceres Cazimi at 26 of Aquarius. Talk more about that in a minute. Then I just picked out 3 of the other kind of transits that caught my eye, and they are Mercury at 11:43 of Pisces squaring Jupiter in Gemini. Then there is a Black Moon Lilith flashpoint. We just had one a couple of days ago, but there's another one, and I'll show the chart for that in a second, just so you have it. So you can take a screenshot of it. That's happening at 26:23 of Libra, and the Black Moon Lilith flashpoints are really a moment where the true Black Moon Lilith and the mean Black Moon Lilith, always have problems with those two, come together in a culmination point in the astrology, often literally in real time, only for about 15-20 minutes of exactitude, where they're exactly the same degree a minute. But what we have discovered with these is that they are portal points through which we can send and receive information. And it's up to us what we wish to send and receive in those. But by using clear intention, we can put our thoughts and intentions into these Black Moon Lilith points, and in quantum style actually receive something quite quickly. Or we can tie it up possibly with Cazimis as well. So we can post something into the Ceres Cazimi on the 14th and maybe receive it on the Black Moon Lilith on the 22nd. It's our world, our way of using the portal points. So we'll leave it up to you. We then have here on day 10, February the 23rd, Mercury now at 17 degrees of Pisces in a nice trine to Mars. And then really what is most important on that day, I think, is that Mars turns direct later in the day in the sign of Cancer. So a lot of people talking about all of these. Definitely recommend checking out your favorite astrologers' videos. But just wanted to give a little bit of an overview. But what we really want to concentrate on is this Ceres Cazimi, because it seems kind of significant. So we did feature the beautiful energy of Ceres, the goddess of the harvest, quite significantly during our Heaven on Earth course, which of course you can still jump into at any point. And she was holding both the energies of water of the harvest of the West in the medicine wheel that we were using, but also very much connected to the Earth because of her connection to nature. She is, of course, a dwarf planet located between Mars and Jupiter, so part of the Malbec ruins, we can say, or fragmentation. The asteroid belt. She is very connected to the energy of mother and mother-daughter dynamics, the Greek myth, of course, of Demeter and Persephone. And she symbolizes our ability to nourish ourselves. She is really the goddess of the harvest. It's one of the reasons I love this energy from Ceres. And she helps us to understand where we can harvest well in our life, through the astrological placement in our natal charts. Of course, you already understand that. So definitely suggesting to all of you to have a look at where Ceres is in your natal chart, but also to see where this Cazimi might be triggering other stuff in your chart as well. And what I understand about this energy, perhaps at a more scorpionic level, is that she really helps us to let go and even to die, to let go of attachments. The whole story of her having to let go of her daughter for half of the year is seemingly one of compromise, but really when I think about it, it seems to me a balancing of yin and yang, day and night, and all of these other aspects of duality. So there is an aspect for me anyway, I think, Abella, of duality with Ceres.
Mm-hmm.
And she's also connected to the earth element, and of course marks, as I said, the transition between these two elements in our medicine wheel from the heaven on earth. So just a little bit of background energy about Ceres, and I just wanted to kind of put that into a nice, easy, digestible chunk. Ceres in astrology, how we nurture ourselves and others, as we already said, our relationship with food and the body. I think this is really important, given what I think is going to come up in this wave spell of the white wind, and how we handle loss and transformation. Again, without really wanting to scare anybody or anything, we know that we're in a time of disclosure. We know we're in a time of purging and release. For those of you probably watching the show, this is nothing new, but we also understand that many people not watching this show probably don't have all of this information. And it may be that we're going to be asked to hold space in this coming wave spell, particularly with the wind of communication, which to me really, Bella, speaks of disclosure, of sharing about things that maybe have been done to our bodies, maybe even done to our food, and maybe even done to other people that we loved, and maybe that we have lost. So this is definitely coming down the pipeline. There's no way to avoid this. I'm sure all of you know exactly what we're talking about. This is not a time to say, I told you so to anybody. This is a time for compassion and understanding that everybody has had different life paths that they have agreed to go on, and we have to respect those and understand that maybe they're also learning so much from that particular path, whereas we chose something slightly different.
And to help find solutions.
To help
What can
find
we do
solutions,
with the help of the plants? And
exactly, all of which is coming here in a second. So the meaning of Aquarius, I mean, there's a lot to all of this, and these are just very kind of bite-sized chunks, but we can say that this is rebellion against the status quo, which maybe some of us have been feeling quite strongly over the last few years, maybe was necessary, of course, and to embrace individuality whilst valuing community. Yes, again, this is very much the imperative of the New Earth timeline, sovereignty, but in the collective unified field. Again, very Piscean, right? Aquarius is also about technology, science, futuristic thinking, sci-fi world. We can even say things like artificial intelligence, technology, all of these kinds of things, which sometimes can look a little scary for sure. It was a big conversation in our flying school class this morning about all of these things. And really, this is where the energy of the birds, of the hawk, of the eagle, which is the next wave spell after this one, are going to come really into play as we learn that in duality, if we are not already operating from a non-dual perspective, we could find ourselves getting polarized, challenged, divided, and maybe even having arguments or trigger points with people or situations around us. This is duality, everybody. Light and dark, good and bad. It's all part of the same mechanism, and there really is nothing other than just to accept that. And once we get to that place of acceptance about it, we can actually even have fun with all of it. And sometimes some things that seem nefarious and dark and maybe ominous actually are also the light allowing certain things to happen so that maybe some people wake up. So when you look at it from that perspective, that isn't bad, right? If it's forcing people to wake up, it's doing a positive purpose. Maybe that's the way it had to happen for some people. Not our place to judge, just our opportunity to hold space and offer compassion and love.
yeah, but also to empower you all to know that we have a say in all of those things, that the quantum field doesn't discriminate. Your energy and your thoughts can be put there. And if you're aligned, if you're coherent, if you're attuned with your energy, it's like sending a direct memo to the quantum field and putting that as a priority that many others can't pick up. So let's not think of the worst that could happen, but what is the best that could happen, and how can I put my energy there?
Right, exactly. So also, Aquarius includes humanitarian ideals and collective progress. Again, as Bella talked about with the Tzolkin map that we're doing in our tribe, this is our way of trying to get a unified consciousness field going between like-minded individuals who've connected over the course of quite a few years now in different journeys and different spaces, or even just through our YouTube videos. We get so many lovely emails and messages from many of you out there who followed us for years, but we've never seen. So we really appreciate those. And that's my cue to say hit like and subscribe and comment everybody in the boxes as we continue our ongoing foray into the world of technology through our good partners here at YouTube. We're definitely understanding that there is even a cause and effect mechanism in YouTube that allows us to be seen by more people. Every time you like and comment and subscribe, it adds to that process and creates more flow, which really helps us spread this important information to more people. And so the unified consciousness field can grow. So what do we get from all of that? Well, it seems to me when we combine these two energies of Ceres in Aquarius with the sun coming in and shining a light and combusting all of this energy, we are being given the opportunity to reinvent healthcare, right? To emphasize collective healing and perhaps to balance emotional detachment and connection, all of which seem very, very opportune given what you said about the white wind.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I think this whole Cazimi is about. It's about showing us perhaps how through collective intentions, through assistance, through reinventing healthcare, by not just accepting what is given to us, by going back to the earth, working with the medicines of nature, working with the energy of Ceres, we can now start to let go of the enforced medications that were offered throughout the world, many of them actually poisonous and toxic in nature, if not probably all of them, and we can go back to something that is going to nourish us at not just the body level, but also the emotional and the spiritual level. You do not really get any emotional nourishment from pharmaceuticals. I've never had that personally, but I do get a lot of nourishment on every level when I work with plant medicine. So that is the energy of Ceres. And now I just want to bring up the two charts. Here we have on the left the same one from the slide a couple of slides back, but I've included here the fixed stars. There are 4 stars there, Sadir, Deneb, Sadir, and Kitalfa. We're going to be talking about 3 of those in detail in a minute. This is just for reference so you can see where they are all happening within orb of the Ceres Cazimi here in the late degrees of Aquarius. On the right-hand side, just for your reference, really, everybody, you can see the Black Moon Lilith at 26:23 on the 22nd of February, and this is for reference only. So please do pause, take a screen grab if you need to, and we'll move on to the next part of the presentation. So this is really what caught my eye, Bella, with the Ceres Cazimi, is it's picking up 3 very important stars. And there's a 4th one, it's a little bit out of range, the Pegasus star of Catalpha. But a lot of this information is coming through the wonderful work of our sisters, Bayo and Aniko, who are in Hungary and who really brought through this stellar nations pathway, working with fixed stars. I mean, they're not exactly fixed, but we call them fixed stars, in relation to the cosmic history codes of the universe. Each star has its own qualities, archetypal energies, we can say, and this whole stellar nations pathway is an excellent way of bridging from the mundane realms of the Earth into our more galactic cosmic self, because it includes really a way for us to talk to our inner DNA, our inner extraterrestrial DNA of the Pleiadians, the Sirians, the Arcturians, and many others too. So the first star that I wanted to look at is a star called Sadir, which is currently at 25 degrees and 11 minutes of Aquarius. It's connected to both the healing nation of the dolphins and the more 5th dimensional realm of the birds through the stellar nations pathway. And through the dolphin star aspect of this star, it is a healing energy assisting missionaries who originally set out from the sacred temple of the Christ, but fell away from the path and betrayed themselves. This is a way of saying that many people, maybe even going back to the time of Christ, of Yeshua, of Jesus and Mary, who maybe were disciples at the time, we can say, or followers who really had the intention to stay in that pathway to do the work, but for whatever reason, they got corrupted, they fell away from the path, and they fell back into the world of the underworld. And so what that can do at some point to the soul is create this incredible amount of guilt and even self-denial. And really what the dolphins offer in this particular star is a way to release that guilt and assist those beings who fell away from the Christed consciousness path, the sort of the heart energy of the 6th dimension and above, and fell away from that path. And so this dolphin energy can really start to bring all of those souls home. And I would say, Bella, that with this energy of Ceres and everything we just talked about, it doesn't take an awful lot of imagination, I think, to think about who some of these beings might be going through this process at the moment. So we can understand that the energy, the healing energy of the dolphins is here to help people who maybe have fallen away and betrayed their ethics, their principles, their morality in this incarnation, or indeed on other timelines which also needed to be resolved.
And we will see a lot of people exposed. And here is where we have to be merciful, when it comes to judging, because we're all on the same journey. And even though many people have committed quite a few horrific things, this is a moment for a collective redemption and a collective move forward.
Well, and I just wish to say this, as we move into a period where a lot of this is going to seem quite divisive and many people are going to get angry, what I would like to suggest is that that's not a very spiritual way to deal with things. Yes, it might seem righteously justified, and I totally get that. And I've definitely had those feelings myself at points. But I have learned to love the gangsters, to learn to love the villains, because without them, there would be no duality. And at a higher dimensional level of non-duality, we can see the incredible tapestry that we all signed up to and have all participated in. Even seemingly the worst perpetrators have a role to play in all of this. And everybody who is here on this planet at the moment and participating in this experiment, we all agreed to do it together. And some of us agreed to be good guys this time around, some agreed to be bad guys, probably most of us are somewhere in the middle.
Most of those that have played the role of bad guys in this world, in this incarnation, they went through horrible things themselves as children. Yes. So all of those things were brought to them, they experienced them, and then they became the monsters that then later became. But now it's a whole moment of redemption and mercy. And I think I also wanted to mention this. If you don't know where this is, you can find it in the what is the name of the website?
Which one?
To find the star.
I'll put all of the details in the show notes.
Okay. But you can find the Cygnus constellation. This is the star that is at the heart of the Cygnus constellation. You can look at the stars and you get to find it.
Right. So with this, I mean, even if you're not following Stellar Nation's pathway, I'm giving you the degrees here where they are. And if you have any kind of major placement that is in 2.5 degrees either side of 2511, then this is going to be a star that you are carrying the soul codes of. Right. So there is a bit more to say about this star. It's quite an important one. And so really, as Bella just said, is the heart of the Cygnus constellation, the heart of the Swan. And so it also, thankfully and helpfully, carries the redeeming energy of the heavenly temple of the Christ consciousness, which is where those missionaries and such like people, which is pretty much most of humanity, I would suggest, fell away from the Christed consciousness path of unconditional love and the heart. So again, this star is calling all of the souls home, guided and protected by that energy, which is another way of saying that everybody has the chance to redeem themselves. And in doing so, it's much easier for the rest of us to find forgiveness. And forgiveness, I think, is going to be a big part of the energy that we're all going to need to find as there is more disclosure. So, and finally, this is a really beautiful aspect of this star that I love, even though I don't actually have this one myself. This star is also the initiating school of the fairies. Imagine they learn to see the spirits of the plants here and understand their language, which for many of you watching this is something that we've talked a lot about on Quantum Plant Healing. We definitely love talking to nature spirits and fairies and plants here on QPW, but we know that many of you do too. And if you have this star, again, in your natal astrology or within 2.5 degrees of 2456 Aquarius, then there is a good chance that you are carrying somewhere inside of you, either already expressing itself or maybe not yet, the ability to talk to nature and plants. Perhaps a little easier than those people who maybe don't have this star. But this is also where the fairies learn to extract the healing powers of the plants, the flowers, and the crystals to use them for healing life somewhere else in the galaxy.
And use the essences, and the essence is the quantum essence.
Yes, the quantum essence. That's what we love about working with plants is we love the medicinal quality. We love to go foraging, to pick them, to hold them in our hands, to talk to them. But most of all, we love to talk to the quantum plant intelligence. And this star is connected, as I've written here, to Avalon, the garden of the apple tree. So this is a very, very magical star with a lot of really important healing energies. And most of all, with this Ceres Cazimi activating this, to me, it's very clear we are being guided to work with the healing energy of the plants and nature, perhaps as part of a new quantum plant healthcare system.
That'd be great.
Wouldn't it? I love that. Quantum plant health care system. So this is a time for new vocabulary. As we elevate our thinking, we can start to think about using some of these phrases more often so they become part of the common lexicon or language for everybody. So the second star, which is really important on this, is Deneb Aldige, currently at 2353 of Aquarius in the stellar nations pathway. This is a cosmic human star, and it really sums up the archetypal energy of Capricorn. It transmits the creative yang energy, really of Capricorn, we can say, through a feminine vessel and connects us with the material realm. It establishes frames and foundations for our dreams, our ether kind of visions, to manifest into the planetary realm, often originating from the higher realms of consciousness. And thus, this stellar ray has a very strong manifesting power. And in doing so, it teaches us the mystery of manifestation and the anchoring into the planetary reality through the establishment of those frames and foundations. This, in essence, is what we just covered in Heaven on Earth, how to work with our higher ether ideas, working with the world tree blueprints, in this case, particularly the ash, the oak, and the yew tree, to bring heaven down to earth, which is where the 13 steps of the navigation guide come in. And all of these things start to interconnect because this star is showing us that in this moment with the Ceres Cazimi, we can download a quantum plant healthcare system. We can download a quantum wealth abundance system. This is what this star is suggesting to us. And with this Ceres Cazimi, it seems to me that the focus is very much on manifesting health solutions, nourishment solutions, better food, better quality of life.
Yeah. So, and many of you could have amazing ideas and contribute to those amazing new systems. So here we want people to be positive about how many of your gifts and talents could now come online.
Right. So this is the second star, and the third one is also very close. It's currently at 2344. In fact, I just want to just pop back and say that this star is a cosmic human star, and the cosmic human aspect of the stellar nations is really when we have done the internal rewiring of all of our DNA, all 12 strands plus the hidden 13th, which creates the Holy Spirit energy. And when we connect into the Holy Spirit energy, it's another way of saying that we're connecting directly into the quantum field. And if we do it from a place of completely reorganized, recalibrated, completely coherent DNA, then we can really start to engage in the activities that this star Deneb Aldige is offering us, which is to download clearly and consciously from the heavenly realms into the earthly realms. So this star is also a cosmic human star. You'll hear us talking a lot about cosmic humans, cosmic Jedis, cosmic shamans in the days, weeks, and months to come, because it is the pathway that we are following, many of our tribe are following, and is actually perhaps part of the new Earth timeline in general. This star sits on the left shoulder of the water barrier, i.e. Aquarius, and its name means lucky star of the kings. It is considered to be one of the most fortunate stars by the Arabs, hence why it has quite a sort of Arabic sounding name. And it really represents the golden stairway for the human, where they can set forth towards the creator or great spirit. This is the end of the journey and the exit from the cycle of human fate and karma. The journey of experiencing is over, and now we can present our experiences, like in this picture here, on the altar of God, so that God may also get to feel all of those experiences that we humans have had. It's a way of kind of interfacing the more disconnected elements of our experience down here in 3D back with the whole. This star is the place of summarizing the experiences we have had and how to draw final conclusions, e.g., why certain things had to happen and why they had to happen a certain way. How did they serve us and what did we learn? It's also very non-dual in this way. It asks us to take a non-polarized view on everything that we have experienced in life and to come to a more elevated perspective. And again, giving everything else we've already shared, in this episode of Quantum Compass, I hope you're understanding what this means. It means get elevated to a non-dual perspective. And in doing so, we start to exit the cycle of human fate and karma, because we no longer getting triggered or manipulated by our emotional bodies. And as we do that, we really are on the ascension ladder, the golden stairway for humans to reconnect to all that is.
Beautiful.
So that's it for the astrology and the cosmology for this particular show. I hope everyone found that useful and easy to follow. For me, the message is very clear. Bella, anything you wish to add to what I shared about that?
No, I think it's all through the same, the same lens, which is we need to come to a point of recognizing things, responsibility, a point of redemption, a point of connecting with our inner selves, communicating our truth. It's all around the same.
Right, and as we always put these shows together, we get these kind of very obvious gestalts that normally form through looking at one particular focus. In this case, it was the Ceres Cazimi. There is plenty of other interesting astrology going on, but it's already been mentioned somewhere else. And so our attention often comes perhaps through our more navigator lenses of like, what are the fine points here? What is it that's being overlooked that seems significant? And when we use the mundane tropical astrology and we overlay this kind of much bigger cosmological picture, we start to get these more nuanced soul flavors that are coming through.
So as you can see, there was so much to cover with the stellar nation astrology and the Mayan that we didn't even go to the sidereal, because then the show would be like 3 hours. So let's go into the plant now.
Right. So the final part of the show, which we'll just take a few minutes of, is just looking at a plant that it can assist us. And really, this plant, Yarrow, Achillea millefolium, the plant of 1,000 leaves. The magic of Yarrow is intentional restraint. I'll come back to what that phrase means a bit more in a minute, but it's really excellent at working with the throat chakra, which of course is connected to the word and to how we express ourselves, how we disclose information about ourselves, about the world in general. And because the magic of Yarrow is intentional restraint, what Yarrow asks us to do through the incoming energy, because our throat chakra is connected to the rear throat chakra, which is our psychic chakra. And this actually is where we receive energetic impulses that we then send up to the third eye for a visual representation or down to the heart for an emotional response from. And if we're smart, we do all of that activity first before we say anything in response. If we're not in control of that process, chances are energy comes in, we blurt something out, and then we're into a whole other world in a whole different situation, which maybe if we'd taken a few more minutes to breathe through that process, as Bella was saying, we might then handle things slightly differently.
Yeah, what is coming to me now as well is that with the amount of disclosure and big information that is being revealed and will continue to be revealed, but many of us have already done the research, gone down the rabbit holes, done our meditations, our discernment, blah, blah, blah. But the majority of the people haven't, or the people around you haven't. So maybe find a way of communicating things in a very neutral way, encouraging people to go and do their research, like very gentle is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and I know for sure that many people out there are going to be tempted to say, I told you so, and all of those things. But from where we're seeing things, that's not going to serve any positive purpose. All it's going to do is cause other people more pain. And if we've got to this point in our journey, I hope that all of you are like us, and we don't want to cause anybody any more suffering or pain. We've both suffered enough personally. I'm sure all of you have too. And when I think about that, my heart just opens to everybody. I don't want anybody else to suffer any more trauma and pain than what we've already all been through already to get to this point. It's been a hell of a journey for humanity to get to this point, and we are all in together. All of us brothers and sisters who are doing the human journey are doing something unique. And so this plant is probably a little early in most of the northern hemisphere, especially in northern Europe, but probably can be found in the Mediterranean or probably in the Mesoamerican regions of America, where the weather is a little better most of the year. But this plant, as the name suggests, carries the spiritual blueprint of Achilles, the balanced warrior. This is a being who supposedly was bisexual, but really carried the energies of masculine and feminine in him in a very balanced way, which is why I believe that with the wild versions of this plant, you get the more pure white energy and you get the pink, and somehow it balances the masculine and feminine energy. Sometimes it also comes in yellow. There are 101 variables of yarrow that have been hybridized, and they make a great plant for the garden. But this plant is also known as staunchweed because this plant is excellent at preventing energy leakage as well as blood loss. So if we work with yarrow, particularly in conjunction with nettle, our boundary plant, we can ensure that we're not leaking any energy. And sometimes our words, if not thought through properly is another way that we leak energy, because they might cause a reaction with somebody that we didn't mean to, because we were a bit mindless with our words, and then we're going to have to use a whole lot of energy walking that situation back. This is where intentional restraint comes in, right? This plant is super efficient, doesn't like any fuss or bother, likes things to be done in the most efficient way, including the words that we use, all right? And the same is true for our thoughts and our actions. This plant helps us to get very, very efficient. At a medicinal level, it's anti-catarrhal and helps promote healthy flow of mucus and clears the airwaves and sinuses. So it's very good at creating the free air passage that we need to make sure that we're thinking and breathing properly. It is really good against flu symptoms, and it's highly protective and can assist in strengthening energetic boundaries. So as a plant for this particular moment, it's really good for protecting against any sort of flying pathogens. I still recommend using plants like elder at this time of year, because the weather is still a little choppy, and perhaps we're getting those extreme energy fluctuations that can leave us open a little bit to receiving what scientists have previously called pathogens. We'll just leave that comment there. As we move forwards, I think we're going to learn many things about the things that affect our body, and they're maybe not going to be quite what we have been told they are. Anyway, this plant is really, really good at dealing with nearly all of these, and I'm sure that many of you who are watching this also participate in our Yarrow mini immersion some moons ago on QPH. So that's it, really, from that perspective. And Bella, you want to talk about the Heaven on Earth course?
So we already finished the Heaven on Earth course, and it's now available. It's a pre-recorded online course. And so, yeah, we invite you all. It was an amazing experience. We learned a lot. We covered all of the 4 elements and the ether element, how to work with the wheels, with the 4 directions, with the tree of life. So it's had really good feedback.
Right, it really teaches us how to work with our inner elementals, and the major focus of this course is to learn about our own inner medicine wheels, both from a Celtic and Mayan perspective, and how we can learn to communicate inwards with our inner air, fire, water, earth, and ether elements. And when we do that, we really give ourselves a better chance to start ascending that golden stairway, the ascension ladder, because it's much easier from a balanced, harmonized space. If we're all misaligned and contorted, it's a lot more difficult.
So I highly recommend it if you want to learn how to work with a medicine wheel as well. It's very useful. And the surprise is here.
Right,
Even
okay.
you got.
Well.
So this you can explain it. What I want to present as a surprise is that any of you that are interested in having the experience of doing a live immersion with us can join us, because we organized it so that even if you can't pay the what do you call the suggested price, you can do a donation basis. So we're super happy that many of you will be able to join us.
Right, so probably we'll do a more dedicated video about this, but just to take a couple of minutes here, this is something that was brought through really off the back of doing the Heaven on Earth course ourselves when we were meditating in ether. A lot of the material we've been sharing just recently with the tribe, the Mayan Glyph Fund, that was all the downloads from our higher selves in the energy of ether. You can see here this wonderful picture of this blue eagle flying high, and of course this is because after this white wind wave spell, which is when the mystical column immersion starts, it will be the blue magnetic eagle wave spell. The mystical column is really the central column in our bodies. It's also the world tree axis, and it's also the mystical column in the Tzolkin. What does that really mean? The mystical column is the golden stairway to heaven. Hopefully you're seeing all of the segues here from the show at this point. If you do, put in the comments and you're going to get an eagle star in your comments. And so you can double up on your gold watch from earlier and have a lot of fun with all of this. But really, as Bella said, we have given a recommended price, and we know that many of you are struggling financially out there, but we were guided to offer that option, but also because we want as many of you to participate in this really powerful 13-day process, working with the teachings of the 3 trees, the tree of eternity, the yew, the tree of the galactic and of the cosmos, the oak, and the tree of the heavenly and earthly realms, the ash, otherwise known as Yggdrasil. They are giving us 3 very distinct blueprints and skins with which to work. So we have been guided to make this a donation-based experience, and really just asking, if you want to participate in this, please just give whatever your heart and your purse is telling you is appropriate at this time, because really what we want is a big number. Hopefully we can get the full 260 from the Mayan Glyph map to do this process, because the trees are talking to us and they want to hold this process we are in their 3 trunks as a way of helping us to reconnect to our eternal selves, universal galactic time, and bringing it all heaven on earth down here into this reality. This is what this whole experience is going to be about.
Get to experience working as a collective
Yes.
during a whole wave spell is a whole different thing.
It's a whole different thing. So please do check out the details page. And if you're feeling the call, please do jump in and join us. The immersions are always a lot of fun, lots of sharing, lots of heart connections, lots of geographical connections. We already have, I think, nearly 20 different countries represented across the planet, ranging from New Zealand to Hawaii on our Tzolkin glyph map. So we're truly a global community, and I love that. And hopefully this will bring that to a new level as well. So that is it really for today, everybody. Thank you for listening all the way through. As always, a lot of information to share, but we do put a lot of time and energy into these Quantum Compass shows. They actually help us, I think, as much as everybody else to get our thoughts nice and clear. But hopefully the information shared today with all of the different aspects is giving you a bunch of navigation points in order to help you ride the surf, but also actually to do a bit more than that. And that is to understand that we can now be the creators on this new Earth timeline.
Yeah, we're super excited. As we complete this Tzolkin, as David mentioned before, we're in the final castle. So we have 3 more wave spells to go. We have the wind wave spell, which is this one starting. We have the eagle wave spell, and then we have the final one, which is the yellow star wave spell. And then we finish this Tzolkin. And by then, I hope that we will have the 260 people, so we all together can start a whole Tzolkin and start creating something amazing.
Right. So again, this is a big invitation to all of you. Maybe you've been watching our shows on YouTube for a while, but never jumped into anything. Maybe your finances have been lacking. Maybe you're in a moment where you want to reach out and connect to like-minded people, at least here online to begin with. And who knows, maybe in person down the road. That's also something we're looking at for the future. But this is an invitation and a calling to all of you to take this opportunity. If not now, then when? We are in the midst of everything. This is the front row ticket that I think we all signed up for, complete with popcorn and a nice hot chocolate, whatever our favorite tipple is, and we can enjoy the show the Gogglebox is presenting us, see it for the theatre it is, and then engage in our own personal life theatre, which hopefully is a lot less stressful and more creative in its endeavors.
And as the old world collapses, as the pioneers need to be ready, we are the front runners getting ready to create the new world. What is it that you have to contribute? How do you want to be part of a collective moving forward?
Right. So that's pretty much it for this show, everybody. Hope you've enjoyed all of that. Please do get involved over on QPW. There's a lot going on over there. Lots of regular calls now happening with the We the People, We the Cosmic Humans movement, the Mayan Glyph map, the Flying School, Heaven on Earth. There's a lot going on because we're feeling the wind in our sails. The winds of change are here, and we definitely want to ride those beautiful waves as much as possible, and not to get dunked too much in the groundswell or the bottom of the wave where it's a little more choppy. So in Lakesh, everybody, I am another you. We'll see you all again very soon.
Bye.
Bye for now.